Okay, so that should be recording now. Welcome to Spanish 101 Online. My name is Malia Spofford Xavier, and I'm Assistant Professor of Spanish and Intercultural Studies at Cuca College, where I've been teaching for about 4 years. And prior to that, I taught in Brazil for several years, and I did all my degrees over at Cornell, so not too far from where you all are located. This is about the 4th time I'm teaching Spanish 101 online. I do teach it on campus as well, and it's a really fun course to get you well on your way to learning Spanish as a global language. Of course, language learning takes consistency and dedication over a long period of time. It's not something you can learn, in 5 weeks without continuing. But you will get a really good foundation in this course, and you'll be surprised how much you'll be able to do by the end of the course. The first thing I'll address is the overall course structure. So you can see here in the syllabus that, the whole course is based over Moodle, and it's on a weekly structure. So keeping in mind that a lot of our online students are full-time workers, right? You have a career, a family. When I was taking online courses, I recently completed an MBA online. I found that having the assignments on a weekly schedule was really helpful to me because it was very predictable. And I didn't have due dates during the week, and I thought that was helpful too. So hopefully that'll work for you. I'm not sure how your other online courses are structured. So essentially what we do is we have, and I'm going to scroll down in the syllabus, you can see what I'm talking about. Each week we'll be doing usually just one chapter. There is an exception. In week 3, we will do 2 chapters, but I've tried to reduce the amount of work. Like, you only have 1 quiz, you only have 1 homework that week. You just have a couple of additional forums. Okay, so each week, everything's due on a Sunday night, and you have several topics that you'll be studying for each week. And in most weeks, you have 2 forums. One forum is written, and in the first couple of weeks, you'll be writing in English. By the last couple of weeks, you'll be writing in Spanish, hopefully. The second forum, the B forums, are spoken. So we need to practice our speaking, and you'll have some sort of task to do. And so you'll post a voice or video recording in those B forums, okay? And then each week you'll have a quiz that's due and a homework assignment. The homework assignments are Google Docs. So you can go in there and make a copy. You go to File, Make a Copy, and then you can download your own copy. And I have some students who like to write it by hand and then scan it and then submit it as a PDF. Or some people just do it on the computer and submit it as a regular Word document. Kind of up to you, either way. Quiz is just totally online, and you can use your course material. I just ask that you don't collaborate with other students, you do your own work. Okay. Any questions so far?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Good.
All right. I don't know if we've had anyone else join us. We do have some more people here. So I have been recording this, so you can get filled in on the beginning, but welcome to Alan. And what's your first name with the last name Mellenbach? I'm not sure.
Melissa.
Melissa. Okay, that's right. I know I saw your post, so sorry, I haven't learned everyone's name quite yet. So in a couple of the weeks, you will have essays to write as well. Essays, take the term loosely. It's not like your other classes. It's really more like a paragraph or maybe 2 paragraphs. I give you a word count range that's a target. You wouldn't want to be much less than that or much more than that. okay? And there are detailed assignments, and I'm also very happy to help you one-on-one. You just have to let me know if you want extra help, okay?
Okay.
Let's see what else. So in week 3 is what I was talking about, that we have 2 chapters, and there's a couple of tough concepts that week as well when it comes to verbs. So I will open those up early and you can start reading through them. Remember that in Moodle, if you look at the structure in Moodle, let me switch my role to student. And hopefully you can see my screen. If you're calling from a phone, you might not be able to see what I'm doing, but I'm scrolling down in Moodle, and our week, they're collapsible folders. So I'm looking at our first week, Semana Uno, Bienvenidos. And you'll see that in addition to our course chapter that you can read through that has explanations of grammar points, lists of vocabulary, and so forth, sometimes I have videos or narrated PowerPoints for you. You'll find your homework, forums, and quiz, or any other assignments. And then what I wanted to point out is that there's a lot of information on the internet, and I've curated some of that here for you, including grammar tutorials, things for pronunciation. One challenge of doing this online is you're not hearing me all the time, right? We're not interacting in the same way as in a classroom. But you can find out that you can learn very efficiently online. So you can take your task, like for your forum, and figure out how to do things pretty efficiently. Students have been very successful in this course. There are resources like Quizlet flashcards to help you build your vocabulary, and many, many videos that you can watch and hear the language and hear those expressions reinforced, okay? So that's the structure on Moodle, and I highly encourage you to make use of those online resources, because one thing you need as a beginning language learner is a lot of practice, a lot of repetition. And so as many of you have already responded to me by email, there are apps out there too that can help. They're not aligned or synced up with this course, but they'll definitely be a great supplement, like Duolingo. You can hear the sounds of the language. You can learn some vocabulary words that way. A lot of repetition, a lot of memorization at this level, okay? All right, let's go back to our syllabus. Any questions at this point?
No.
No, we're good? Okay. So keep your eye out for that week 3. It will be a little more challenging, and remember, I'm here to help you. If you're on campus, you can also make use of the tutors that we have, I believe, for Spanish 101, or you can come see me in my office. If you're off campus, you can set up Zoom calls or just exchange emails, or just regular telephone calls. You let me know what you need. Week 4 will be all about food. A lot of people like that one. And we'll have another essay that week about a family recipe or a favorite recipe that you have. And the one kind of challenge with the timing of this course that I found was we have Thanksgiving holiday like during our last week of the course. And I'm a little concerned about that, and I'm going to try to be as flexible as possible with the due dates for the final. We're going to record a short presentation on any topic that you want using PowerPoint. That I put the due date as actually after the end of the course. So I put it as the 4th of December. Along with the final, I'm extending it out until the 4th. I'm hopeful that'll give you enough time considering the holiday. I know a lot of people travel. It's just a busy time of the year. So if that's still not enough time or you're concerned about that, please let me know. I don't have that long to submit your final grades. It's just a few days. So I can't extend it out too much, but I'll work with you as best I can to deal with that holiday coming, coinciding with the end of the course. Okay, so the next topic I wanted to touch on is how you'll be graded. and some tips for success, like what am I looking for, and how can you ensure you do well in the course. I know a lot of you have already finished your degrees and you're like, okay, this is the last course I have, so I'm sure you want to be successful in the most efficient way possible, besides learning Spanish, of course. So you'll see on the syllabus an evaluation section. And so a big chunk of your grade has to do with the active participation in forums and making sure you're communicating with me in the course. So I do encourage you to reach out to me and talk with me, schedule times to practice Spanish if you want, or just clarify your questions. In terms of the forums, what does active participation look like? It means your initial posts are posted fairly early in the week, so not like Sunday night you post your initial post, because then nobody will have time to respond to it. So see if you can post a little bit earlier in the week. There may be weeks where you can't, but in general, that would be the trend I would be looking for. And then replying, substantial replies to your classmates. So we try to build an online community where we get to know each other and communicate, to use the language. So posting things like, I agree, or that's cool. It's better than nothing, but, try to ask questions, or, reply with some reflections of your own. And I pretty sure most weeks I ask you to do 2 replies on each forum. With the exception in week 3 and 4, I relax that a little bit just because you have more forums. But if you go above and beyond that, obviously that'll be great for your grade, but I only require those 2 replies. But they should be substantial replies. Then I'll give you feedback on all of those, so you'll know if you're on the right track or not. Homework, I don't look for perfection in homework, but I definitely look for effort. So, and if I give you feedback on your homework and I keep seeing the same mistakes without you reaching out to me, then, that wouldn't reflect well on your homework grade. But in general, homework's pretty straightforward. If you do all of it and it's mostly correct, you'll get the full credit for the homework. The quizzes that you have will automatically go into your grade. You have 2 attempts and they'll be averaged. The final exam, you only get 1 attempt. And the final takes, questions from each chapter. Essays, you do have a chance to revise if you want. Most students do very well on the essays. I really haven't had many problems with that. The recorded presentation is 10% of your grade, and then the final exam is 15%. In general, students do very well in my courses if they keep up with all the work. What will get you usually a bad grade or result in failing is when you have multiple zeros in your average. So if you've missed several assignments, that's usually a bad sign. So if you find yourself falling behind, or you're having problems with due dates, it's really important you contact me, because I will be able to work with you and see how I can better support you to succeed. Okay? Any questions on evaluation?
Looks straightforward to me.
I hope so. I try to make it straightforward. I really want you to focus on having an enjoyable experience with the language and learning about cultures. Spanish is such an interesting language because it's spoken in many, many countries, over 20 countries, as you probably saw on that geography quiz. And each country is just a little bit different. And it makes just for a very enjoyable language learning journey. I've been, learning Spanish since I was a little kid, and I guess it's been a long time now, several decades. So, and I'm always learning. Like every time I talk to somebody from a new country or a new region of a country, I'm learning something new. So it's a lot of fun. All right. So other tips for success in this course would be to, just find something you enjoy about Spanish. Like set reasonable expectations. You can learn to speak pretty well after this course in terms of learning, being able to speak about what you study, about your family, about foods you like. So about certain defined subjects about yourself, you will be able to, if you do everything, according to the course, you should be able to talk pretty well about those things and write about them. Is that equal to fluency after Spanish 101? No, but it's a really good foundation. So you have to kind of manage your expectations there. But you will have that foundation, and it's up to you if you want to keep going, and I would highly encourage it. One way to work towards fluency in a foreign language is by finding something you enjoy doing. So whatever your hobby is, your special interest, maybe you just like watching Netflix. Well, all of those things, thanks to the internet, you can do almost anything in Spanish now. You can even put your phone settings in Spanish or social media in Spanish. So you're interacting with the language on a consistent basis. I do recommend also that when you're studying the language, you don't study for too long at a time. Simply because you're giving your brain a real workout when you're learning a language. You're forming new neural networks, and it actually can be exhausting at times. So if you've ever been in a foreign country or immersed in a foreign language, you'll know that you get tired, like actually tired from listening to the language. So if you can study in bursts of like 15 to 20 minutes, or integrate something into your daily routine that's 5 or 10 minutes of looking at articles on a topic you're interested in or listening to music, you'll find that that accumulates over time if you do it consistently, and you'll have really good results with language learning. Let's see. Oh, here's one other thing I did want to mention. Flipgrid. So Flipgrid is a tool I've been wanting to play with and integrate into Spanish 101, simply because it's in kind of an additional space where we could practice speaking the language and interacting. This is not a graded assignment, so it's not required that you do Flipgrid. I know some people are not comfortable with video, me either, honestly, but we have to find a way to talk to each other. And so, using a language, obviously, it helps communication if we can see each other. So the Flipgrid this semester or this session is really just for extra credit. So say you got a quiz grade that was like a 75 and you do, a few of those posts, we can boost that low quiz grade to, per the number of posts you do. So, and I would encourage you to do it mostly because it's useful to your learning, not necessarily for the extra credit, but that's kind of what you would get out of it also. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Questions, concerns?
On the quizzes, are you automatically going to see the grades? Because I took the one last night and then it didn't look like it saved. So I'm not sure if it's showing I did it or not.
Well, I don't automatically see it. So what I would have to do is go into the grade book and see what's recorded in the grade book. I can do that for you. Who was speaking just then?
Oh, sorry, Meredith.
Okay.
So if I looked in the grades, I should be able to see it too then, right?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
And, sometimes I love Moodle kind of, but Moodle can be a little temperamental at times. Sometimes we have some problems with it where you can't submit something. Don't panic. Don't, get worried if something happens with Moodle and it just doesn't work. I'll work with you so that you have another chance to do it, or, I'll forgive it that it's late by a day because Moodle was being glitchy. So we can check and see if your quiz grade saved. If it didn't for some reason and you need an extra attempt, I just have to go in there and adjust the settings for you, okay?
Okay.
Same thing with quizzes. Like if you're taking a quiz and you think, well, I think that was right and it's marking me wrong. Sometimes the fill in the blank ones are very again, temperamental about what answers they'll accept. So just email me in those cases and say, hey, for quiz 1, question 10, could you take a look at it? Because I can go in there and give you partial credit or manually grade those things. Anything else?
So this is Meredith again. So you said on the forum post, so week 1 and 2 is going to be writing in English, and 3, 4, and 5 will be in Spanish.
I believe that's how it is. I would have to go back to check exactly, but I know the first couple of weeks, like I can show you here on the screen, Forum 1A says, why study Spanish? What are the benefits of being bilingual? I give you a linked article, and then you write a post on why you think you should study Spanish, and you reply to 2 other students. Farther along, I think I asked you to describe like what you do on your birthday, but I asked you to do that in Spanish to the best of your ability, right? So as we build up a vocabulary, and it usually takes till about the middle of the course before students have enough vocabulary to really write a lot in Spanish. So I think it's week 3, but I'll have to check exactly when that is. It will be clear in the forum what you have to do though. However, in the B forums, they're always in Spanish. So like for Forum 1B for next week, what you should be able to do is greet your classmates. So say hola or ¿cómo están? Whatever you want to say. Buenas tardes. Then you would say your name and spell it in Spanish. So, for example, me llamo Malia. Se escribe M-A-L-I-A. And then you could include one other piece of information if you want. So a lot of times we talk about what we like I like dogs, right? Me gustan los perros. And then you would say goodbye. Hasta luego. So it's not overly complicated, but the idea is that you're putting together the things that we learned in chapter 1. Okay? I hope that answered your question.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody worried about anything? No?
No.
Okay. Well, I know it can be, some people who haven't studied language or haven't studied in a long time might be nervous or want additional practice. Remember, that's what I'm here for. So just reach out. And even though we're not meeting in a classroom on a regular basis, Moodle is our classroom and the forums especially are our classroom. So, interact with me, send emails, schedule appointments, and hopefully that'll give you the sufficient support to complete the course successfully and enjoy it and learn some Spanish as we go. Okay? All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, we can go ahead and end the call. But I really, really look forward to seeing your post. Don't forget to do the week 0 post. In addition to emailing me, there's a little forum just so your other classmates get to know you. There are, I think, 17 of us total, which is the biggest online class I've had. And it's a mix of AOE students and traditional on-campus students. So I think we'll have a lot to talk about with each other and learn from each other as well. Okay, then. Well, it was nice talking with all of you, and I will see you online, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Gracias.
De nada. You're welcome. Okay. Hasta luego.